What's up, y'all? This is the 1974 film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yes, I know, a classic indeed in slasher horror. Alright, let's watch the trailer and let's get into it.
What happened was true. The most bizarre and brutal series of crimes in America. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Even if one of them survives, what will be left? The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. After you stop screaming, you'll start talking about it. Rated R.
Alright, y'all, so let's get into this one right away. This is a legendary slasher film, in my opinion. It's really done well and it's very scary. A lot of jump scares in this one as well, but a lot of, slow, eerie, creepy type feeling of fright and thrill. So I gotta give it to them on this film. This is the original 1974. Um, so basically, the story is that there's, these five kids. I'd say they're maybe early 20s or late teens. Um, they're driving out in rural Texas, out in the country. They're trying to find a grave of a grandfather, I guess, of one of them. And yeah, on the way there, they kind of meet a hitchhiker who's really crazy and stabs Franklin, one of them. And then they kick him out. They run low on gas, so they try to find gas somewhere, but they can't. And then they say, okay, we're gonna go to the house anyways. They go out there, and that's where shit starts going south. They basically find another abandoned house in addition to the one they were going to see. And yeah, that's when it gets really creepy and really, really bad for these kids. Need I say more? No. So yeah, we'll get into the cast now. We got Marilyn Burns as Sally, and Terry McMinn as Pam. So the two girls in this van as they're driving out there. Um, and then we got Alan Danziger as Jerry and William Vale as Kirk. So these are the two guys. I assume that these guys and these girls are in relationships. Not like polyamorous or anything, but you know what I mean. And then they have their brother or another one of their friends, Franklin, who's kind of a fatter guy in a wheelchair. And he's a really good character. He plays his role very well, I'd say. He's probably my favorite character of these five kids. He's shy, he's nervous, he's overthinking. He's um, he plays the role well as kind of a disabled guy in a wheelchair needing help. And then we got Gunnar Hansen as Leatherface himself, the scary motherfucker with the chainsaw, basically, who wears these masks of, I'm guessing they're people he's killed, and he's took their face off and made it into a mask somehow. Um, yeah, and I'll mention a couple more here. We got Edwin Neal as the hitchhiker. This is the guy, they first pick up in the beginning, who's fucking crazy. And yeah, but we'll get into that later. Edwin Neal plays a really good role in this, and he does it very well. He kills it as the crazy, kind of homicidal, psychopathic guy. He has to see Franklin's knife in the van, and then he takes it, cuts himself, and then actually cuts Franklin when he tries to take the knife from him. So, pretty crazy. Pretty crazy opening to this movie. It feels weird. It feels deranged. You see them out in the country, so you think, oh man, something doesn't feel right here. And your van's running low on gas. So yeah, so now let's get into the actual movie and the directing, etc. So directed by Toby Hooper. Um, I think I mentioned on the Fog video that John Carpenter directed this, but I was wrong. John Carpenter did Halloween and The Thing, which were really good horror movies that kind of helped start out the horror genre. But yeah, this is Toby Hooper, and this is a 1974 film, a very low budget film, and you can tell that when you're watching it. But with what they had, they did a really good job at making this thing as scary as possible, and a good movie throughout, and a good movie overall. So, and the writers were again Tony Hooper and Kim Henkel. So yeah, this movie gets a lot of accredited claim for being one of the OG slasher movies that kind of started out the genre, and to be honest, I can't disagree. After seeing it, this thing is twisted, this thing is sick, this thing is scary. It'll probably scare the shit out of you. So just keep that in mind before you watch it. Um, some people might think that it's overrated. I don't really think so. I think it's, at the time, it was ahead of its time with fright and suspense and the jump scares as well. It wasn't overly gory, which I like. They didn't need to go that route. It was just scary enough, being that this guy Leatherface is just out there somewhere in the country and he's killing people. He has a butcher shop, or his family has a butcher shop, and they kill a lot of animals, and it's stinky. He cuts motherfuckers up with a chainsaw. Yeah, it's just a really good, well done movie in my opinion. For a psychological horror, a slasher, they killed it in this movie. No pun intended. um, but yeah, this is definitely rewatch worthy. I guess I can tell you a bit of interesting things about the movie, or things I liked now. You know, it's interesting. They said filming this movie was really a psychological battle. It was taxing on the actors. They weren't just playing a role. And you can feel that in the movie. Like, it feels like really good acting, and it feels very real. It'll probably send a chill or a tingle down your spine. Throughout, a lot of these scenes are really great. Now, I think the hitchhiker dude, what was his name? Terry, or no, Edwin Neal. I don't know why I said Terry, but yeah, Edwin Neal said apparently that the dinner scene at the end was very tough to film for him, and I guess he said he would rather go to war again than film this movie again. So that says something. Just a sick, twisted film with a lot of real life pain and agony from the actors, the writers, the directors, etc., that went into this. And you gotta respect that. You gotta give the film its props. People suffered for this. People bled, literally. um, so it's a slasher staple for sure. It's a slasher legend. You can't go wrong with this film if you want to be scared and put something on that's creepy, that's feels like real life, feels like it could happen. Um, yeah, I thought the acting was really great throughout. Gunnar Hansen as Leatherface is incredible, as well as Jim Sydow plays the old man, I guess. I thought Pam and Sally were really good as women too, but you could tell by the look on their face and the look in their eyes that they're going through it. Filming this thing, it's really taxing on their body, their spirit, their mind. And then yeah, I'll mention it was very hot in Texas when they were filming this, so it was hot, it was stinky from the real life decomposing meat, because it was their house was supposed to be a butcher shop, I guess, or this other house they found with all the weird shit happening. So they had real meat and some really fucked up shit in there. Apparently for the one of the last scenes, the fake blood wasn't working, so they actually cut the actor. So I thought that was interesting. And just, it's kind of sick, really. Hurt yourself for a movie. These people are really dedicated to horror. You gotta respect it. But yeah, that's about it for me on this one. Y'all gotta check this one out. This is getting a really good rating from me. I'm gonna say this is a 9, a solid 9. And this is a classic, a legendary slasher film. You can't get much better than, Leatherface and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I also really liked how they did, the cinematography in this movie, the way everything flowed nicely, and felt like you're right there with these people, these kids, as it was scary and suspenseful. I liked the music, and yeah, I liked how they didn't have to use too much gore and blood, and it was just scary as is. But yeah, this guy with the chainsaw is a freak. And yeah, apparently they used a real chainsaw in this film, so he's actually wielding a gas powered chainsaw, and he's killing it, literally. I mean, the role is amazing. This is a movie that kind of sticks with you, and you'll think about it in the coming days. You'll feel kind of weird, kind of I don't know. It feels like you're traumatized a bit by it. I'll say it like that. But for us horror fans, that's kind of what we look forward to. Uh, Even though as fucked up as that sounds, when we watch a horror movie, that's kind of something you want to take away, so that's a bonus. Yeah, I'd say y'all gotta see this if you haven't and you're a big slasher fan. If you've seen this, let me know what y'all think. This is a fucking legendary film. And I thought they did good for the 70s in this. It's crazy this is a 1974 film, because like I said, ahead of its time. I don't think it's overhyped much, maybe a little bit, but it's solid, y'all. And yeah, I really liked the way they did the ending on this film. So it kind of shook me up at first. I thought it was gonna be different, but they surprised me. So I thought that was a plus. As far as bad things, I mean, some of it was just like some of the 1970s stuff I couldn't get used to, but really there's nothing really wrong with this film. It all makes sense. It's all a crazy psychological ride. It's all a crazy slasher ride too, because he's got a chainsaw and he's a butcher and all this stuff. So yeah, other than that, it's that's all I gotta say about it. Just watch this one. I'm kind of speechless after seeing this thing. But yeah, definitely rewatch worthy. This is a classic in the world of sin. Yeah, take it easy, y'all. Thanks for being here. It's your boy Diego. I'm out until the next one. Alright, peace.